similar to our parade, and our parade is excellent.
It's awesome.
All of them are great, but you are balancing two completely different worlds.
I have great teams, right? Any of that you read, I didn't do by myself. I have amazing colleagues, peers, and teams who work with me on accomplishing things. And my favorite quote is one from Teddy Roosevelt, is it's amazing what can get done if you don't care who gets the credit. And so that's been my philosophy my entire career. I will never take credit for their work. I will stand in front of them if people are shooting at them, but I will always stand behind them when the roses are being thrown, because nothing gets done by yourself.
And I do love that. Rogers has town halls, and I know that you stand and you know, amazing technology now where you're able to talk to all employees, whether they're in the room or not. But that's a great philosophy for other businesses, to be able to sit down and connect and have those meetings and have those great proud of you moments.
Yeah, there are 1,200 of you across the country. I mean, today we have 29 RTV stations. We have 5 Omni stations, 5 city stations, or 6 city stations, and then a national network.
You don't like that 6th one?
I think of non-Toronto, and then I think, of course, City Toronto is the first one, and then we have 5 outside of Toronto.
Right.
And we have Omni as a national network. So we have employees from Newfoundland to Victoria, and they all come in every day wanting to make their community a better place, wanting to make what they do at Rogers matter, and since we all share the same values, we go out and we do it every day.
You've touched a little bit on this when it comes, and it's, you know, being a fixer. I'm going back to that reality show. When it comes to being a woman who is higher up in a business, sometimes they appear to be bossy. Sometimes they can be a bit of a bitch. Wherefore men, maybe they're just assertive. So how do you balance that?
You don't take it personally. You try. No one told me my kids were ugly, right? So I have to separate the two. So yeah, I will be aggressive in a meeting, and the men in the meeting will be uncomfortable about that. That's their problem, not mine. And so the one I fear the most and breaks my heart the most is when teams at the local level who roll up into my department think I'm aloof or distant, or that one would break my heart. But because I can't get to see them a lot. And a small anecdote, during the cuts in 2015, after the cuts were done, I thought, I'm going to go to all the stations and, you know, cry with them and make them feel better and try and make them feel better. And I show up in Winnipeg, and a cab drops me off, and I get to the door, and the station manager runs upstairs into her office and bursts out crying, thinking that she was going to lose her job that day. And just like, oh my God, that's awful, right? That people think that of me, that when I come to see them, they burst into tears. They don't anymore. But that was hard.
Nobody cried here.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So, you know, duking it out, elbows up in the boardroom, whatever, that's their problem. But for the teams rolling up, I really want them to think that you can do things in a collegial manner. Also, you have to practice what you preach. You have to lead by example. So I'm mindful of how I interact there.
When is it okay to break the rules?
When it's the right thing to do, that's outside of kind of the structure. So I'll use an example at CPAC. We have a vacation policy and a time off in lieu policy. But one of my producers went to Switzerland for Christmas and had a heart attack skiing. And so ends up in the hospital. He had care, and insurance took care of everything. But then he emailed us and said, so the docs say I can't come home for 3 weeks because I'm not allowed to fly. So, you know, HR says, well, he doesn't have enough vacation. Well, yeah, he does. Today he does. You know, you break the rule, you go out of the, because you have to do the right thing by. He's been with the company 25 years. He's a good producer. He's a great human being. We're going to take care of him. And so, so you do what you have to.
Is that, some of that is learned. I mean, some of that is, that empathy is learned over 30 years in a position, but some of that is also just a characteristic that you have.
But fair enough, yes, I do. You know, we all have our moral planes, but the wonderful thing for my career was the first 10 years of it, I was in a room with Phil and Ted twice a week. And so Ted always empowered us to do the right thing. And he's the owner, right? So he's allowed to say, just if we'll figure it out later, do the right thing. And so I've always felt that empowerment to do I'll worry about fighting it out with the boardroom afterwards, but I'm lucky to have been trained. If you grow up in a corporation, and grow up I mean in terms of you start out as a manager at a very young age, and then in a corporation that is very you know, institutionalized, you may not get that kind of latitude or feel that empowerment. So I don't know which came first.
Right. Well, you have grown up in the, I think.
Yeah.
With 30 years, and you went from being a learner to a leader. Really, how, maybe not so much about you, but what advice would you offer to women in the next generation, to women who are in that learner position and soaking it all in here today and heading towards that leader position?
Embrace gray. The world is not black and white. Right?
I thought you meant your hair.
Yeah.
So that's great because it's trendy. So
the first time I did a performance review for one of my female leaders, one of the first times I used those words in a performance review for one of my female leaders, that's exactly what she said. She said, oh, I thought you talked about my hair. I said, no, the world is not black and white. If you think in black and white, you will go home frustrated every day. Humans are flawed. You know, embrace that. No one is perfect, including you know, you or me. So embrace that. Teach, influence. I use a variety of strategies depending on where you are, but sometimes I use the dumb blonde thing, right? You ask a whole lot of questions, and most of the time to me they're rhetorical, but as long as they get to where I want them to be, it works. Other times you're inspirational, other times you're a big sister, you're a good listener, but the trait throughout all is remain calm. I should get one of those t-shirts, right? Remain calm, but there is gray in everything. Find your right moral values. What's right for the business, right? I have let people go. So don't assume that what's right is you never fire anyone. You do what's right for the business. Sometimes it means saying no, but other times it means saying yes to something that's risky and a new idea. If I could change a few things in terms of leadership, is I would encourage my people to have taken more risks. So what I tell students now when I speak to them is embrace risk, take more risks. Because in this day and age, that's the only way you're going to survive. Take risks.
Right. And I love what you said about the dumb blonde, because I think it goes back to that being bossy or being assertive. You don't always have to be assertive in order to be in a power position.
No.
Sometimes that takes asking questions or taking the step back or letting other people lead.
Or demonstrating with results that you can get stuff done.
Yeah. I have a quote for you. It's take chances, make mistakes. That's how you grow. Pain nourishes your courage. You have to fail in order to practice being brave. Do you know who said that?
No.
Mary Tyler Moore.
Oh. There you go. Words to live by.
So, Ms. Mary Tyler Moore.
Thanks.
How do you overcome fear?
It has evolved over my life. Today, I just face it head on. You take a deep breath. You do your yoga breathing, and you say, "I can do this. I can do this." I used to turtle, but I don't turtle anymore. I just say, "No, we're going to figure it out."
You mentioned yoga. How do you balance work and life? Because it sounds like there's a lot of work.
There is, the old adage that women can have it all and work-life balance. If you measure it on a daily basis, you won't get there. But if you measure it in longer increments, in chunks of time, you can. So in 2001, John Tory was my boss at the time, and he said, and I was one of 4 people running the cable company, and he said, "You can." I lived in Ottawa, but commuted to Toronto. I had 2 younger kids, and I had just gotten divorced, and so it was a balancing act. And he said, "You either move to Toronto tomorrow, and you're going to get the bigger job, or you're going to go do this job in Ottawa." And I was not happy. I was pissed because I thought, I'm better than the guy you're thinking of putting in that job. But my kids are little. I don't want to move them away from their dad. So I'm going to go do CPAC and government relations and regulatory and RTV, and I'll go do that. And I did that from 2001 to 2014, and I raised my kids. They're the best thing I've ever done. I have great kids. And then I came back in 2014. I moved to Toronto, and I work 100 hours a week. But I have balance. I don't feel like I'm run ragged because...
You work 100 hours a week?
I don't. I'm exaggerating. I work maybe 70.
Oh, 70.
But
it's fine.
But that's okay. That's what I want to do. I choose to do that. I feel over the course of the 30 years, I've had balance. My kids one lives in New York and one lives in Montreal now, so I'm going to go home to an empty house regardless. I try and make it to yoga on Tuesdays and Fridays, and I have my weekends to myself. So it all depends. Do I want to keep? This has been the balance for 5 years because I wanted to fix these stations and show and demonstrate to myself mostly that I could do this, and I did. And so maybe next year I won't work 70 hours a week. Maybe it'll be something different.
But it's
achieving balance over the course of your life, as opposed to if you go in and think, I need work-life balance on a daily basis, you may be disappointed.
Well, and I think there's a lot of people who are in this room who have little kids who are going through that right now.
Yeah.
And that balance is a struggle.
Yeah. You come out of that tunnel. When you're in it, it's dark, but you come out of the tunnel.
Yeah. You talked a little bit about the highs and lows, but if you could, what would be your biggest accomplishment? What would be your biggest achievement so far?
Outside of my kids?
Outside of your kids.
Outside of my kids. I think Omni is the biggest business achievement. We took something that had no future and gave it a future. We had to fight 3 times for legislative and regulatory change, and it takes a long time. It takes a long time to change a law, right? It takes 5 years, right? From the conception, then you've got to beat the path and start lobbying and start working all levels of government, and then you've got to go to the CRTC with a great idea and what you think is a great application, and do your best. And we did that. It was hard. This thing breaks even, right? It doesn't make money. So how weird is it for the businesswoman, who manages $300-400 million a year, to say my biggest accomplishment is the one that will never make a penny? But it is. What we do in the communities with RTV and with Omni is what makes us a good company.
But you're talking to a room of women who maybe don't have that type of funding as part of their profit. You're talking to not-for-profit organizations. You're talking to small businesses who are just trying to make ends meet. And it's difficult to relate the not making money part with trying to live.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's another balance that folks are going through.
Three of the assets I oversee are not-for-profit: Rogers TV, Omni, and CPAC.
And I don't think a lot of people know Rogers TV is a not-for-profit.
Yeah, Rogers TV is not something that is advertiser supported or makes money. It is something that is part of a fund out of a cable revenue formula. It's like a tax, but it is funded. It is part of the cost of doing business. If you want a cable company, you do a community channel. And so we thought, wow, if we're going to do it, we may as well be the best. And that was always the mandate: just go out and be the best. Define best, right? Make your corner of the world a better place. Be relevant. Be timely. Be local. And that's what made us best.
Right. What advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Take more risks.
You don't think you've taken a lot of risks?
Does
anyone here think you've taken a lot of risks?
There were companies that came calling because I loved Phil and Ted and the company so much, never looked at them. Mm-hmm. And the last thing you want to do is look back on your career and do what if. But I might have taken more risks, even within the company.
We haven't mentioned the glass ceiling yet, and that's kind of a buzzword when we talk about women in business. Do you feel there's a glass ceiling? You've been ripping through glass ceilings for the last 30 years.
Sometimes I need a helmet. Yeah, there is a glass ceiling. There is. I won't sugarcoat that either. There is. It's hard. But you have to, when you get to be my age, you think, oh, whatever, I'm done kind of moaning about it. You make it work for you. So, there have been bosses in my life where I have to get a male peer to give my idea to, because when I say it, it's Charlie Brown's mother. But when he says it, it's the best freaking idea that guy's ever heard, right? And so frustrating. But then I go back to, if you don't care who gets the credit, then you get it done. And I've had things done that way. And it's frustrating, and so you learn to park your ego, and because if your mission is just to get that thing done, do the right thing, get it done, then it doesn't matter who gets the credit. It doesn't make it right, but I got it done. I'm results oriented, and so I maybe over the course of my career could have maybe worked better on my personal brand. So I would, if you're starting out, work on your brand. Don't take no for an answer. If you believe in something, just keep at it. That doesn't mean be a bull in a china shop, right? Understand your audience, know how to communicate to that audience, and then go do it.
All right. How do you think business has changed for women? And it sounds like there's some areas that still need improvement.
You know, C-suite needs improvement. Boards need improvement. There are many companies that have one or no women on their boards. So I look forward to seeing that change. At the manager, mid-manager, director level, numbers are good. It's awesome. And so let's keep going. But in the upper echelons, which is why it's my job now to clear that path for those who follow me, but I need the helmet.
All right.
Still.
If you were to pick some of your favorite personality traits, what would they be?
So if you have no ego, it's a really uncomfortable question. But I
asked it anyway.
Yeah. I like the fact that I'm calm. I don't melt in a fire, right? So, and I think that's what makes me a good fixer, is that you just go, okay, everybody take a deep breath. How are we going to fix this? And you go out and you do it. I try and make lemonade out of everything.
It's only one, but I will, let
All
you
right.
pass. As we head into 2020, you talked about going for a month to Hollywood. When does that come up again? When is that time period?
So I was supposed to leave March 29th for a week to do the scouting trip, and then May 10th to the 21st would be the next one. The studio's canceled the March one. So it's 50-50 now based on the virus. If we'll do May this year, I don't know.
And
but typically those are the dates.
Right. And how do you prepare for that?
So there's a lot of preparation, right? There's, I have a partner who's the vice president of programming content, and he's there doing renewals and figuring out where, you know, what the programming strategy is and what shows are going to be up and what we think is coming. My job is to go upstairs and fight for the money. And so had a meeting yesterday about that. I'll have a meeting today about that. I lost the first fight. Well, we'll try for, you know, we'll keep going. And just to my job is to get him the resources and then get out of the way and let him do his job.
Right. And I don't want to diminish anything that you've done so far, but what do you see in your future? Are you at that glass ceiling? Are you?
Well, this is why I think I'm getting itchy for the, you know, what's my next goal? Because since I was 12, I wanted to run a TV network and be Mary Tyler Moore, and it's like, okay, I'm doing that. I don't have another goal. It's like, uh-oh, I better go find another goal. So I'm working on figuring out what that other goal is. I think it'll be in the helping my community role as opposed to making money for a corporation. I don't know.
And as you talk to a room full of community leaders, not-for-profit organization, directors, staff, and owners of businesses, what advice do you have for them?
First off, I don't know that I have advice, but I have thanks. The world goes around based on you, right? What you do makes the world go around. Hopefully people thank you every day, and if not, thank you. I think you should be thanked. Just keep doing what you're doing. You know, embrace change. Don't think black and white. And you know, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. I'm an optimist. There is always light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The following program is brought to you by Rogers Anyplace TV. Enjoy exclusive content for free. Visit RogersAnyplaceTV.com.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Good evening, 007.
Tell me what you know, James Bond.
You'll light the fuse on any explosive situation.
Good retention.
007 license to kill.
Is this really what you want? Living in the shadows? Always alone?
I don't stop to think about it.
We're the generation that had it all. We're the generation that had the music and the moves. We're the generation that had a dream. We came together to feed the world's children. We came together to protect them. And in this dangerous world, we have to keep on saving them and protecting them, even when we're gone. If we remember UNICEF in our will, we'll be the generation who left a better world for children. Please visit uniceflegacy.ca.
Family, it's just extremely important. People move around. Connected for Success has just made it so much easier. For the longest time, I was on cloud 9. It connects you to family, it connects you to the outside world, and it makes you feel connected to the community. It was a whole new experience. You realize then how much you missed out. In fact, connect is my favorite word now. I love that word. It keeps me out of trouble.
If you only knew what I'm going through, I just can't smile without you.
Hey, Gabe, we're supposed to be at City Hall.
We're gonna build it right here.
Oh, yeah, sure. And give wetsuits to all the visitors?
No, on the water.
Hey, come on. We're talking about building something the size of 64 city blocks.
And there's no land left in Montreal.
So, get serious.
Listen, we'll build islands.
How? Dig up Montreal?
They're digging a subway, remember? You take it from there, and you put it here.
12 months and 25 million tons of fill later, St. Helens Island was reshaped and Ile Notre Dame was created.
Come on, we don't want to keep Mayor Drapeau waiting, do we?
Montreal's Expo 67. It would prove to be the most successful World's Fair of the 20th century.
Monsieur de Champlain, when I finish paddling through this wilderness and reach China, I shall greet them wearing this.
Monsieur Nicolet, your mission shall be for the honor of the King and the Holy Faith.
In the summer of 1634, Jean Nicolet set off from Quebec to find a trade route that would link Europe and North America with China.
But where is it?
Further. I know the place you are seeking.
For months, Nicolet pushed the wilderness, searching for the Western Sea.
Georgia! Mississippi!
What did he say?
He says, Mississippi, great water.
Mississippi, the sea, China.
Jean Nicolet was wrong. It was Lake Michigan, not the Pacific. But others would follow his dream. Joliet, La Salle, the La Vérendrys, and they would map most of North America from the Rockies to the Gulf of Mexico.
For Sir George Etienne Cartier, the work of uniting Canada was as vast as the country itself. First, he won over Quebec.
Union is the only way forward.
No, Monsieur Cartier. Confederation will cost French Canadians their nationality.
Monsieur, together we will form a political nationality independent of our origins.
Diversity will be Canada's strength.
Then he fought for Manitoba.
The Northwest has formed a government under Louis Riel. We will not join Confederation unless our rights are respected.
So you want a new province? Then you'll have it. There will be a place for your people in Canada.
He envisioned a country from Atlantic to Pacific.
British Columbia won't even think of joining Canada without a wagon road through the Rockies.
Ask for a railway. We are building a country, after all.
Bold as a lion, Confederation could not have happened but for him. Du Canada, son pays, ses amours.
Jean-Marie! Fire! The neighbor's farm is on fire! It's almost to the road! It's heading for us!
Help me get the animals out of the barn!
The fire's getting closer!